let me stop sharing my screen and kick this off. Cool. Okay, well, look, nothing signals crypto's ascent into the mainstream more than the talent that is entering the crypto businesses. And before joining Ledger as the Chief Experience Officer, Ian was the Chief Digital Officer for LVMH and CEO over at Beats Music. So needless to say, we need to get as much as we can out of the next 25 minutes. Ian, it's great to have you here. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good too. I'm excited to get this one going. The community have been buzzing about this topic. They're always pushing us to bring more voices in to talk about crypto. So it's cool to have you here. I think I'm going to start up on that point right out the gate with, why should we be thinking about protecting our digital assets?
Well, when I was looking at Ledger, so I've been following the company for a long time, because when I moved here to Paris, I became friends with Pascal Gauthier, who's the CEO of Ledger. So I've only been at Ledger since January, but I've been following the company kind of like ringside seat for 5 years. And it was actually a couple of years ago that I realized that the only things you had to believe to kind of believe in Ledger as a company were, one, that we're going to have digital assets in the future, such as cryptocurrency, and two, that security would be a primary thing, a primary concern. So regardless of the cryptocurrency, security is going to be, a real concern. Okay, so why is that? That's because for the first time we have digital assets, and that sounds trivial, and you say, oh, well, no, I've had digital assets for a long time because I've got photos or MP3s or whatever, and that was the business I was in before was, but if the fact is if, you lost your Drake MP3, I just send you another one because it was already just a copy of a copy of a copy. And that's not the case when it comes to, to digital assets. Like if you lose your private keys, your assets are gone. You have lost access to your assets. Those assets are sitting out on the blockchain. And you have a key pair, which signifies A, that you own it, and B, that you can do something with that value, such as transfer it to someone else or sell it or whatever it is you want to do with it. And if you lose that key pair, it's gone. It's not like your normal bank account where the bank's like, oh, sorry, I screwed up, so we're gonna just move a 1 from that column to that column. Like, no, it's an actual asset, and if you lose the keys, then it's gone. And then the reality is that we have these great devices, our phones, our laptops, but they are fundamentally Web 2 devices, right? And what makes them so great is that they do a lot of stuff, and you can put, a lot of different apps on them. But that same thing that makes them great is what makes them a really bad place to actually store value. So you're left with like 2 real choices. One, you can store with a custodian, such as a, Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, or you can put it on a hardware wallet. Those are your only 2 real choices. If you're storing value in a software wallet, you're making a gigantic mistake. You have to decide if you'd rather have a custodian deal with it, in which case you might have the problems like many people had last week where they can't log in. You could have the problem like many people have had around the world over the years where the exchange gets hacked and value gets stolen. You could have the problem where the government decides tomorrow that, oh, you want to move more than $5,000, well, you're going to need to wait, 7 days for that to happen, right? But, digital assets are like gold bricks, and you can hold them in your hand. You can do the equivalent of, storing the gold under your bed or in your safe or wherever you want, except doing it super securely in a way that's really portable. And so that's why, we're huge believers in both self-custody, meaning I hold it myself, but also hardware wallets, because you cannot self-custody in software. People do it all the time, and it's a mistake.
Surely, as adoption increases, which is a great thing for the crypto world, protection is becoming more and more important with hacking, increasing computing power. How's Ledger keeping up with that today? What have you got coming next as well?
Yeah, well, the great thing about the way that Ledger does it is that it is really secure by design. So the way that it works is you have this device that has a secure chip, secure memory, secure screen, secure buttons. I mean, it is it is, you know, effectively the same technology that's in your credit card for the chip and pin system, right? And then, by the way, we have what we call the dungeon, and then what they do is just hack things all day long, including our own devices. So, you know, we've, you know, put the devices like through all of the paces to try to make sure it is as secure as it can possibly be. And then what it does is it stores your private keys, and then you know, when you do a transaction, you use your ledger then to sign the transaction with that private key. And during that time, your private key is never exposed to the internet. So it's impossible for someone to steal it. Okay, so then you might say, well, all right, well, then I have to protect my ledger. Well, not really, because it has a passcode. And what you really need to protect is your seed phrase. So when you set up your ledger, you get this seed phrase, and you might think, oh, okay, I wrote these down. It's a backup. I'll probably never need it. But no. Take that seed phrase and put it somewhere safe, a safety deposit box, or, you know, whatever is the safest place, you know, and not in your home, you know, not somewhere that someone could steal it from you if they broke in, or someone could, you know, you want to keep that out, because you're actually quite safe with your ledger device. So, you know, you can, you know, it takes a passcode. You put the PIN code in wrong 3 times and the device just factory resets. Like, that's a feature to protect you. You can even have, you know, what we call plausible deniability. So you can put in a second code, and then, you know, when you open it, you know, you don't see your real value. You see some, you know, some kind of artificial value or some small value, or, you know, it's a separate account. But the reality is that, you know, you're actually, you know, very, very, very safe, and having your value on your ledger is the safest way to be. But, you know, then what we have, you know, one of the problems we have to solve, I mean, first of all, we're innovating. We actually have 3 different new devices that we're working on right now. But from a feature set perspective, we're adding a lot of services. So you can do things with, you know, with your ledger. So, you know, you have this device, you know, or you have your assets securely stored, but you want to do stuff with it. You want to trade it. You want to buy more. You want to buy an NFT. You want to, you know, stake your Polkadot or your Tezos, or ultimately your ETH2. You want to interact with the world of DeFi, make a loan with Aave, or, you know, swap some DeFi tokens, that sort of thing. You know, what we're working on is being able to do all of that right from your ledger, right? So you can actually interact with the whole world of digital assets. So already, you can buy, sell, swap, stake, all inside of Ledger, and we're adding some of these other great features really soon.
And how does that change the world of crypto? Because, you know, you're part of that solution to legitimizing and making it safe for everyone to interact. What does the world of crypto look like if we have the confidence that our assets are safe?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, we're in the early days of this, right? So, I mean, from my perspective, I'm old, first of all, and I lived through the .com era and the .com bubble. You know, we're in kind of like 1997 right now, when you look at how many people total are in crypto. And if you go back to 1997, there were a lot of things about the web that were not easy to use. You know, like, the promise was there, but the user experience wasn't all the way there. I mean, you know, you couldn't just put anything you wanted to into a Google search bar and get a good answer in 1997. That wasn't possible. That was still to come. There wasn't an iPhone for 10, 11 more years after 1997. So there's still a lot of innovation, you know, on the horizon. And so I think that it's similar here. You know, the focuses for us are ease of use, security, and then a platform approach, which brings you, you know, access to all of the things that you would want to do in the world of digital assets from the comfort of your Nano. So the idea is, and it's just a fact that, okay, I don't want to keep my crypto at an exchange because I want to own my own coins. You know, not your keys, not your coins, as they say. So also, though, I do want to interact. I want to trade. I want to experience the world of DeFi. You know, in the past, I would have to kind of send my coins out to MetaMask, which by the way, I can do. I can connect a ledger to MetaMask. So you can do that way. Please don't use MetaMask without a ledger. That's not secure, but you can do that. But it's not a great user experience. And so what we're trying to do is to have a platform approach to bring all of those things that you might want to do with your assets onto the Ledger platform, so you can do it all from the safety of the Ledger platform. That's where we're headed, and you'll see us do a lot of things like that this year.
Awesome, I love that. So I want everyone that is investing in crypto or using crypto in the Finimize audience right now, just check it safe. If you don't know the answer to that question, let's go do some research and figure out how you can do that. Now, what I would love to do is switch from where we're at today to where is this going. So of all of the areas of the crypto world, what are you most excited by right now, Ian?
Well, I think, really, I would kind of look at, wow, there's really so much to say what we're most excited about. I mean, I think, obviously, we're all looking at the assets right now, and I would say that's much like looking at kind of like the protocol layer back in the 90s. What is the internet going to run on? There was a time when people didn't think we could do video over TCP/IP, and they were coming up with all kinds of other solutions, right? So that's, I think, one of the things that's going on right now that's super interesting. Is there are a lot of interesting coins, interesting chains. I'm personally super excited about what's going on in the world of Ethereum right now. I think that narrative is really picking up steam. But
tell us a bit more about that.
Sure. So if you think about Bitcoin as digital gold, then you can think of Ethereum as kind of digital petrol, or that's a massive oversimplification. But if you're thinking about it just in your head in terms of, with Ethereum, you can do something, right? It is actually a world computer. So you can write code, you can deploy it on the Ethereum network, and it can be run in a completely distributed fashion. So there are tons and tons of things and applications that are being developed on that. In fact, if you're familiar with kind of the issue around gas prices, you could say maybe there are too many things at the moment, and they're trying to find different ways of scaling that. But it is an incredible project run by extremely intelligent people, and they're working on lots of different things with it. The other at the same time, because of that, you have other projects that are kind of trying to make an end run around Ethereum while Ethereum is trying to scale. Here's a more scalable approach for X, Y, or Z. And I think that kind of competition is incredibly exciting, because people can see that there's there's gold at the end of this rainbow, and they want to figure it out. There's really a need. But then I think when you look more broadly into the world of digital assets, as you said, I spent the last 5 years of my life working at LVMH, big luxury conglomerate, and I still work with LVMH. And I'm on the board of Dr. Martens, and I think that when you think about the ability to give or sell or combine digital collectibles with physical goods, I think that's incredibly exciting. Ledger invested in the round of a company called Artifact, RTFKT, who is really leading the industry in digital goods. And I think that's an incredibly exciting space. I think, for a lot of people, that will be the way that they find their way into digital assets, because, maybe they're not into trading, but they are into collecting. And that could be, from the kind of NBA Top Shots type of angle, or video game, or assets in video games. But then I think that this entire world of DeFi is really exciting as well, because you have you only have to ask yourself, are there things in the world of finance that are going to be disrupted by technology? Okay, yes. And and under that you have kind of all of the things, and the promise, and frankly, some things that are maybe a little dystopian, if you kind of like follow the line all the way out. I did live through the .com era, and I'm not I'm not so naive. I'm not as naive as I was in 1997. You know, I don't think any of us ever thought that the internet would bring us, you know, Donald Trump and Brexit, but it did, right? And so, you know, no matter what side of the line you are, without the internet, those two things don't happen. You know, so I think but I think that, you know, there are certainly things in the world of finance that will be disrupted, you know, by digital technologies. And if you believe in that, then DeFi is really exciting. And the last thing is, I think, just the notion, to come back to kind of what the internet has taken away from us, the notion that we gain sovereignty and ownership from this, hopefully all the way out to our identities, right? I mean, you know, we don't own DVDs, we don't own compact discs anymore. But we also, you know, and there's a lot of convenience associated with that. I guess I'm, you know, at least partially responsible for that. But we, you know, we also don't own our own identities anymore. You know, our identities are owned, or we're actually better known by third parties than we are by our friends and family. And I think getting some of that sovereignty back is a very exciting part of this overall digital asset future as well.
I love all that. And I think that is going to lead me to my final question for you. But just to recap, guys, check your crypto is safe. And then I love this analogy of sort of mid-90s.com era for crypto, because, you know, when we talk to our members about investing in crypto, the only thing that keeps coming through is it's much more like a VC mindset. And if you think you had that VC mindset in the mid to late 90s around which internet companies were going to succeed, what's going to be adopted, which has real utility, you look at who the founding team members are, all of that stuff really applies in this space. So I love that analogy. And then finally, about ownership, I'm just maybe a 30-second answer to this one, but I'm fascinated at like what attracted you to crypto from LVMH, especially because now we're talking about ownership and decentralization, whereas that's like the pinnacle of luxury, right? Where it's exclusiveness, it's oneness. It's the opposite of that. So what's shifted your mindset, and how come you're here?
Well, I think, you know, for me, there actually is a through line in that, you know, what I loved about the internet was the fact that you could create unlimited distribution, you know, and what crypto does overall is it sort of turns that inside out. And it says, instead of unlimited distribution, we actually have digital scarcity. And that's just a new tool to work with, you know, just like the internet was a new tool. And for me, you know, I've always, what I've really been is a student of how the internet is changing culture. And, you know, if you look at, okay, well, the internet made information free in a way, or made the transmission of information trivial, would be the more, you know, more specific thing to say. You know, what happens when you innovate with value? You know, you had this revolution of information, and now there's this revolution of value. And I think that's going to be incredibly impactful on humanity, probably more impactful than the internet at the end of the day, because, you know, you can redistribute the information, and that does a lot, as we can see. That certainly has an impact on humanity. But when you redistribute wealth, I mean, that has a massive impact. And anytime you change the way human beings can, you know, are connected to one another, you know, whether that's the printing press or roads or airplanes or, I mean, the international banking system, you know, obviously radio, television, the internet, you change humanity. And so for me, I'm not a very good spectator. I don't watch movies. I don't watch sports. I'd rather play the game than watch the game. So that's why I'm here.
There we go. Well, look, we've got 2 hours that we could carry on talking for, but we've only got 8 minutes. So community, head to the Q&A section now, pull that section up and start upvoting the questions that you want answered. We're going to try and get through these quickly. So I'm going to read these out. Hey, Ian, if some of these are very practical and technical, you can answer them, great. If not, I'm going to direct these guys over to Ledger to get their answers. So, cool. Matthew, the number one question that we've got at the moment, if you're using an exchange or custodian like Coinbase or Gemini, is your crypto safe? Should you be withdrawing it? And how do you actually get your hands on this private key?
You know, I think, you know, safe is a tough word. Do Coinbase and Gemini care about security? Yes, absolutely they do. Are they working absolutely as hard as they can to keep those coins secure, and many of them are kept offline, et cetera? Yes, I think they are. There are risks though. You could be hacked. You could be SIM swapped. There could be some massive hack of an exchange that you don't, that nobody saw coming. It could be just that the government says, I'm not cool with you taking your money out anymore, right? So that's why I don't keep my assets in places like that. A massive scale attack on Ledger is just technically impossible, because you have, there are small scale attacks. They can attack, a person and say, hey, give me your 24 words, and they might catch you at a bad moment and you make the mistake of giving it to them. But to actually go and there's no honeypot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. And I think that answers a couple of other questions that we had in there too. But again, go and check it out and figure that out for yourself, guys. Debadeath, great question. What happens if the Ledger device gets damaged and potentially unusable?
So what you do then is, this is why you have to keep your 24 words in a safe place. So if it gets damaged and it's our fault, we'll replace it. But if you just you flush it down the toilet, you throw it in the fire, it's okay. You take your 24 words, you just take a new device, grab a new device off of Amazon, you put in your 24 words, boom, you're back in business. That's also how you can keep backups too. So I have multiple, and I have multiple devices. They're set up with the same recovery phrase, so they're holding the same key pair, which means they give access to the same crypto.
It's amazing, isn't it, that we have all of this innovation and then instantly you start retracting off the internet and going back to having these offline methods.
I actually think it makes a lot of sense. I think that we've all kind of been living this experiment of living in public for years, and we are realizing that, we want some sovereignty back in a lot of ways.
Yeah, sure thing.
Remember, when the product is free, you are the product.
Remember that, Finimizers, and that's why you pay your Finimize subscription, guys.
Exactly.
So there's another question here, so I'm going to read this through. So first off, there's some praise for you guys. So thank you, Ledger, for your genius tech. My only concern about my Ledger is, what if my address data is stolen from Ledger's systems and then falls into the hands of the criminal? Then someone comes to my house, they knock down my door, they then go and get access to my wallet. How do you guys think about that?
Well, your wallet has a passcode, so them getting your wallet is not a risk. So I guess if you want to run through the risk would be, you giving them the code, or that's it's kind of what they call the $5 wrench attack, right? That's why, again, your Ledger has, if you put the passcode in wrong 3 times, it bricks and it's back to factory reset. And you can also have an alternate code. So you put in the other code and you go, look, I've only got, $50 because all I do is buy weed on the dark net, or whatever it is you do with your $50. So you have kind of the same risk that you have with someone coming into your house and forcing you to wire them money from your bank app.
It's strange, isn't it? People's fear will always exist about losing anything that they own, and it's almost a testament to digital assets starting to feel like real assets when we have that fear.
Yeah, I mean, put it this way: if you had a safe in your house and it was full of gold bars, you would actually have more risk, because there's no way to make them disappear. Whereas, if someone ran into my house right now, I do not have, my 24 words are nowhere in this house. There's really nothing I can give them.
They'd probably go for that vinyl collection you've got behind you, though. Hey, Ian.
You could take the vinyl.
Cool.
It's
okay.
Heavy, though. It's heavy. I hope they brought a friend.
Same with the gold bars. What's the difference between Ledger and other hardware crypto wallets?
The number 2 wallet in the space doesn't even use a secure element. If you find one on the street, please bring it to us. I can get the keys off of it for you in about 2 minutes.
Just define a secure element for us.
So a secure element is a secure chip that has, you know, basically special properties. It knows when it's being tampered with, and if you try to tamper with it, it goes into freak out mode. Whereas when you have a chip that doesn't have a secure element, you know, you can do things to it to kind of fake things. Like you can hit it with a laser. You can do, you know, various things to make it think that, you know, to make it behave badly. Is the bottom line. So that the main thing is that, you know, the Ledger wallet uses secure element, secure memory, secure screen, and then secure connection to those buttons, so that really what you see is what you sign. That's the way we put it, because you really can't trust, you know, a device like this, because there's so much between you and the device. I mean, I'm sorry, you and the other side, right? So, you know, if you're typing in, let's say you're using an aftermarket keyboard, those keystrokes can easily be grabbed by the keyboard and sent to somebody else. You know, somebody could, you know, do something to your operating system that makes you think you're typing your password into your wallet, but you're not actually, right? So memory is shared with other applications. So it's those kinds of things, or you want to have, you know, something that is truly a secure device with a secure element.
Amazing. Now, that is all we've got time for, Finimize community. I can see a bunch of other questions. So if you're in our Finimize chats, drop them to me. I'll make sure they get answered. I'm also going to drop in, I see some people asking how to get their hands on Ledger. There's a link, I've just dropped in the chat that you guys can visit, and we'll take you there. And Ledger are going to give you guys 20% off anything that you get through that link too. Cool. Okay, Ian, that was awesome. I've got no.
That's a pleasure. Thank you, and thanks everybody for caring what I have to say. I mean, you know, and you know, good luck. I mean, it's truly a brave new world.
It sure is, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks, Ian. Thank you, Finimize community, and we'll catch you later. Bye, guys.